One of the problems that married couples complain about the most is this issue of taking one spouse for granted. And it starts in a very subtle manner, from ignoring them, not acknowledging their needs or not even trying to meet their needs, not greeting them, yes, not using the word please or thank you, not even acknowledging their presence, treating them as though they were beneath you, reminding them of their past, using past situations against them, name calling, yes, emotional blackmail. All those signs are there to indicate that you have a problem in your marriage and you're taking your spouse for granted. Or your spouse just tells you, I don't feel acknowledged by you. You take me for granted a lot. In fact, you speak to your spouse the way you will not speak to your work colleague. You speak to your spouse the way you will never speak to someone you respect. You respect everybody outside, but not your spouse. You're very sweet outside, but once you're home, you're almost like a lion. Your spouse has to walk on eggshells around you because they don't know what will trigger your next episode of anger. Listen, taking a person for granted will soon lead to bigger problems. And when we need to check it, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's acknowledge the fact that we have a problem here. It's a very little problem, but it will lead to a major one if you don't nip it in the bud very quickly. But what can you do differently even if you notice there's a change in your relationship that has led to you taking that woman or that man for granted? What can you do differently? Can you call them and sit at the table and just talk about the reasons why you feel like the value has dropped in your marriage, rather than taking it out on them and blackmailing them emotionally? These problems are very common in our day and age. We talk about divorce a lot, we talk about separation a lot, but we don't deal with the little devils that have led to this much bigger monster that we see in our society. So if you ever notice in your marriage that you're being taken for granted or your spouse is taking you for granted, it is time for you to sit down and address the matter. Don't pretend as if it's not happening or sweep it under the carpet. No, or ignore it. It's going to come back and fight you in a very hard way. And if you're taking your spouse for granted, you've got to watch it. No human being likes to be humiliated. It's only a matter of time and they will turn back and they may bite you really hard. Yes, even the best of us, we don't like to be taken for granted. Honor people the way you should, particularly your spouse. Spouse is not just another person. This is somebody who is one with you. This is you. Your spouse is you. So, for example, I'm married to Mr. Philip Oladejo. You call me Mrs. Oladejo. So you're not allowed to insult my husband when I'm there. You're not allowed to insult me when my husband is there. He shouldn't allow that. I shouldn't allow that. Why? Because we're one. We should have each other's backs. We should be there to protect each other, not take ourselves for granted, not speak derogatorily, about each other, allow other people insult our spouse, call them names, even our family members. We should not allow that. And do you know it's so shocking that in some homes today, you will find a man reporting his wife to his own parents, and the parents turn around and call the wife names, and they're there, and the man is sitting down there feeling so good about himself, like someone has come to save him from the hands of this demon called his wife. He's actually demonized his wife and allowed other people do so, and even much more. The way you treat your spouse is the way other people will, and guess what? They will do worse. If you're treating your spouse very well, they know you don't joke with your spouse. There are things they won't say to your spouse. There are ways they will not treat your spouse. But if they know that that's what you do, I bet you people will do worse. So you've got to be careful. If you're taking your spouse for granted, you cannot get the best out of them. Sometimes people are complaining, oh, but she's meant to be a Christian woman and he's meant to be a Christian husband. Yes, he can be a Christian, but even at that, you may not get the best out of that person. You've not allowed the beauty in your marriage to emerge. You've not given your spouse a chance to blossom in that marriage. So you're not really going to enjoy the best of them because they will hold back. Everyone does that. We give our best to people who treat us the best. And I want you to mark that down. Most of us do that. I do that. Yes, I give my best if I feel very welcome in an environment, if I feel loved around you, if I feel valued around you. I want to be around you more. I want to love on you more. I want to be there for you more. And that's the same thing with marriage. So the reason sometimes we're losing it is because we keep taking ourselves for granted. We don't acknowledge. I even hear now that people body shame a lot. When you're body shaming your spouse, whether male or female, disrespecting them, calling, oh, your big head, your big belly, look at you, after 3 children, is this the way your mates look? You speak to your wife in that manner. Do you know what it means to carry a pregnancy for 9 months and to go to delivery room and to have a, let's not even go into all those details. Let's not go there. But understand that it's so important that you respect your spouse. Stop taking them for granted. Give them their crown. I love that word so much. Give them their crown over and again. The moment you marry a man or a woman, you have actually crowned them. You've crowned the man as your king. You've crowned the woman as your queen. Now go ahead and treat him the way a king should be treated. Go ahead and treat that queen the way she should be treated. You don't treat a queen like a doormat. No, you don't treat a king like a doormat. He is the one that makes the orders. He is the one that actually created the kingdom. He's the reason why you decided to be a Mrs. Yes, for that man. So treat him the way he should be treated. That woman gave up herself to be with you. Many times you've heard women who would even fight their family members, damn everybody else, just to be with this man. And this same person turns around over the years and becomes something else. No, the woman starts to regret. Why did I even venture into this in the first place? All of this can be corrected. One of the things we always say at the Couples Club is we can win when we try. If we try, we can win. But if we decide not to try and we allow these things to fester over and over, it will lead to resentment. And this is why even divorce is common in the church today. So it's not just out there, it's also in the church. You've taken your spouse for granted over and over. They've even lost themselves. The woman can't even find herself anymore. You marry a woman and you're the one who ill-treats her the most. You're the one who curses her the most. You're the one who disgraces her, embarrasses her everywhere. Or your husband, you call your husband names even in front of your children. Even now in some homes I've heard that children will turn around and call their dad names on account of how their mom. No. It's unacceptable. Please stop taking your spouse for granted. It's actually emotionally damaging when you do that to a person. Treat them as if they are insignificant. No. We got to stop it. Stop taking your spouse for granted. Rather than do that, why don't you turn it around? Do the things you used to do right at the beginning when you first met. There's a reason that man married you or that woman chose to say yes to you. If she had seen you treat her the way you're treating her now, I don't think she would want to be with you. But she gave up everything to be with you. He gave up his own lifestyle to be with you. There are many challenges and many situations and circumstances you've gone through together as a couple, which is why you must even value yourselves more than anything else. But after a few years, you've gone through your troubles and everything, you've come out of it, you've forgotten the prices that you've paid for each other, you've forgotten the sacrifices you've made, you've forgotten how you've gone out of your way for each other. Now that woman is insignificant before you and that man means nothing to you anymore. No, let's go back to the drawing table. Begin to treat your spouse with honor, and guess what? There are massive changes you will experience in your marriage. Listen, you want an out of the world experience. You want a marriage that will last the test of time. You want a marriage that will last and be a blessing to others. Stop taking your spouse for granted. Treat them the way they should be treated. Give them their crown and be a person of honor. God bless you. It's Bolanle, Oladejo. We prepare singles for marriage and we also help to nurture existing marriages. So if you do have any challenge in your marriage or you just want someone to speak to, please email us at thecouplesklub@gmail.com. thecouplesklub@gmail.com.